Hello guys, Invarch Network just released the highly anticipated Saturn multisig solution. This multisig is actually available for implementation for every dApp and every parachain on the Cosmos SDK, and Q2 it will be ready, as we'll talk about more in this video. So some of the problems with current existing systems, there are things like it's hard to use the current implementation with the likes of parity. Teams have to develop their own custom solutions. We'll talk more about that. And then the ecosystem lacks things for account recovery in case you lose access to the account and all manner of that. So let's get into this video. So I will be using this canvas so that you get up to speed with what we're talking about. So let's take, for example, let's start with wallet. So the basic explanation for wallets are like at the individual level is similar to what you have like in a bank account. So you have your account number, and then you have the signature and the PIN that you can use to get access to this account. Sorry. Now, if you bring that to the blockchain world, that is where you have things like the wallet address, which is equivalent to the account number or a public key cryptography. And then you have seed phrases like 12 money equals or 24 or whatever. And then we have private keys. That is like the PIN of the account. Now, the threshold signature schemes there is just one. It's an individual account. So anybody that gets access to it is able to unlock and do whatever with the account. So what are the pros and cons for this? They are faster because there's no single person that you have to contact and say, hey, can you get me, can you get on board? I want to sign a transaction or whatever. No, it's just you. You do it when you like, whenever and however you want. Any amount is yours. The cons there, which is the negative, is it's less safer, right? Meaning, if somebody gets access to this, you are gone, and it's less secure. So that is at the individual level. So with that, we have multi-sig accounts. So multi-sig accounts, you still have one wallet, and it has different implementations, but you now have multi-signatories or multi-signatures. Now at this multi-signatures or signatory level, there are two types. It could be, let's say, in an organization where you have multiple key holders. So you have, let's take, for example, in a corporation, you have, like I have here, 0 persons. You have a man, you have a woman, and a boy. So let's take from them. They have access to the account. So for them to sign this transaction, they have to agree on, like I wrote here, threshold signature is X over Y. So X over Y is, Y here is the total number of people in the account. X is how many people are needed to sign the transaction. So maybe they define it 3 over 3 or 2 over 3. It all depends. So X is the number of people required. Y is the total number of people in the account. Now the next form of implementation of a multi-sig account is one user that is using it like a multi-factor authenticator. So you as a user, you can have a wallet that you have multiple devices that you use to authorize. So let's say, for example, for you to sign a transaction, you have to authorize it from your desktop, you have to authorize it from your phone, and you also authorize it from your laptop, desktop, phone, and your laptop. So that is another implementation for it. So you might be asking, what are some of the use cases or something like this? It can sound about something like a joint account, like we actually talked at this place, and it can also be like it's code storage for the long term, but it's not a substitute hardware wallet, but it has something like that. A multi-factor authenticator, like I said, for single users in this case, and then for contingency purposes. So when you create an account, like in this case, for example, since they are multi-users, and you say, okay, 2 out of 3 as you, yeah. So let's take, for example, you lost this access. You can still sign transactions with this and also add another other devices as time goes on. Unlike this case where if you just lost access, you are doomed. And then a DAO can actually use this stuff as well. So okay, let's talk about some current multi-sig implementations and some of the problems. One of the challenge there is that many of them are restricted to the chains that they are deployed on. So I will give you an example. We have something like this. This is Akemi. Some of the, so you can see this one is Castle. The chains is deployed on is Ethereum. You can see this one, Arbitrum, and the rest of them, Solana, and the list goes on. So even if you go to things like safe.global, one of the biggest chains out there, you still have the same problem. It's available on I think 12 plus chains. So when you go outside, you see that you cannot. Now, Latin again, for you to be able to it requires separate and disconnected multisig to be able to manage assets on another chain. So that is another problem. So that's where we introduce Saturn. So we can see that, like I said initially, that the current implementation in Polkadot systems is using the original parity client, and it's cumbersome. It takes time and it's costly to develop your own custom solution. The ecosystem lacks things like account recovery, like I actually said. Now let me read this to you. I put this from the website. Saturn is a non-custodian solution for bridgeless multi-chain asset management that is designed to provide all of its users, whether they are individuals, communities, organizations, or institutions, with the ability to navigate across all of Web3 seamlessly as a single unit and without barriers. So let's get into this stuff. Let's talk about the Saturn design. Sorry, this video is taking a little bit of time. Now, it uses TSS, Threshold Signature Schemes, a system where through off-chain and on-chain systems, people will be able to sign transactions and it will be able to deploy on other chains. And then cross-chain messaging. So cross-chain messaging is what will enable it to be able to deploy in other chains, as we'll see. Now, it's multi-chain. So we'll talk about current implementations and official implementations. So official implementations will support many chains like BTC, Ethereum, Cosmos, Binance. Current implementations will support KSM and then Polkadot, and then official implementations support Solana. So multi-purpose is that you can control and own assets on other chains. You can manage those assets as you choose. You can utilize the functions of other chains if you so choose. Okay, let's talk about the user experience that this project will bring about. So the first thing that it will bring about is it's not a multi-sig that like the current implementations we have in Polkadot that is not customizable. This one give you optional features to make your life very easy. Another thing is it will support things like account abstraction. So for easy wallet recovery and all that. Things like account rotation for better security. And then existing wallets like the MetaMask you have, the Talisman, the Polkadot JS and all that, they will be able to onboard using the SDK. You can see the implementations and all that. You'll be able to onboard and using the Invarch Saturn SDK to existing wallets. So you don't need to go and build something new. No, the current wallet, they just need to use the implementation of Saturn and then they will get started. Now, interestingly, for the user experience, it offers account sharing ownership. So things like customized rules, this is what somebody can be able to do. Customized rules and permissions. And it also have voting frameworks. So since it's building using the Polkadot and the Kusama substrate, it will enable on-chain governance where if you vote on things, they get implemented on-chain. It's not something like it's happening with the Arbitrum ecosystem where the DAO we were questioning governance and all that. Now, at the transaction level, there are two forms. You can have free transactions, and you can also have paid transactions. So, paid transactions is that when you did not bond Invarch tokens. So, if the network will be deployed on the Invarch, which is the implementation on Polkadot, and Ticker is the implementation on KSM. So, at the KSM level, you will pay for the tokens with Tinker or KSM. And then at the Invarch, you pay with Vash and or dot. So, but when you bond tokens, so when you bond Vash tokens, you will get access to gasless transaction signing and then fee-free voting. So that's some of the benefits you will get. So Saturn offers the possibility to create multi-bodied entities, as we'll see here. You have an entity, you have sub-DAOs that can do some things like multi-bodied organizations and all that. Like just like in your physical world, you have the human resource department, you have the marketing, you have the legal. So is an organization like the core of the operating, let's say the CEOs and the rest of them, and then here you have the marketings, so well, supposing here is marketing, legal, human resource, and all that. The heads of these organizations, they make up this. So at this level, there is a way they organize themselves. So with things like Saturn, you can create systems that you can use beyond just financial transactions. And then you can also create a multisig votes. So these multisig votes, people that are in the DAO or that are not in the DAO, you can give them multi-tiered access that is customized by amount or time or whatsoever. And then Saturn can also make possible multi-chain liquid staking. So we'll talk about using threshold signature schemes. So you'll be able to do things on that chain using Saturn. And then you can also vote on such a chain. Okay. So one of the implementation is that they have a collaboration with the Fala network, if you are aware with Fala network. And this will enable multisigs to be able to own and manage Web2 accounts. So there's a current implementation that will go live, which they will implement it with Discord and all that. Okay, I will link an article where you can read. Another thing again is that you'll be able to easily track and manage portfolio values using Saturn. So like we can say this is a nascent portfolio tracking of a crypto exchange. So is something similar it will be able to offer you to track your assets multi-chain. Sorry for there's a cock that's crawling. It's early morning here outside. So let's talk about the roadmap. Now, the roadmap is in 3 phases. So Q2, which is where we are now, is the first implementation of Invarch. So first it will be deployed on Tinkernet. Once it gets, which is a sister chain, once it gets to a desirable level, then it will be deployed on Polkadot implementation, which is the Invarch network. So the first thing is it will serve the Polkadot ecosystem firstly. Once that is done, we can now move to other chains in subsequent implementation. So the first thing is initial Polkadot ecosystem launch, so that every parachain and the app will be supported, custom voting, thresholds, multi-chain, transaction signing, and all that. And then the version 2 is just to boost this V1. So we add things like account abstraction, NFTs and accounts, gasless transaction for users. And then version 3 is where we talk about the ability to support to service any blockchain that utilize the apps. Automatic gas fees. So this bring your own gas fee show is that you will not be required, if you so choose, to pay the fees in Invarch or Tinkernet tokens. So I apologize again for the cock and not the squirrel. So that is the Invarch multi-sig network. So let me know what you think about this. Now, before we end this video, I want you to bring to light that the Invarch network is actually bidding for a Parachute loan. So parachute.info.options, you can see the info, what is going on there, and then you can contribute to the likes of Talisman and all that. So it's going to end in 1 week and 1 day. So 90%, that is completion rate now. So it's, when it gets 100, it will complete. So you can actually get on board and join the future of what the Invarch network is doing. So Invarch network is actually a protocol for multi-chain ownership, collaboration, and democratization. These protocols provide non-code solutions for defining digital ownership and governance structures, which can feature trustless signing, royalties, reputation logic built on top of them using palette and smart contract. So they're actually the team behind the Tickernet PowerShell. They're actually the team that's also behind Yudo DAO, DAO Syst SDK, GitHash, DApp Signer, all manner of products they're releasing. So I hope this video has been helpful to explain the Saturn SDK. So as a developer, be anticipating this asset launch. So thank you very much. See the documentation and all that. It will be easy to go. Thank you very much for listening, and bye.